So, if the M1 has blown most of its competition out of the water, what can we expect with that new M2? Because yes, M2 is the placeholder as Apple's next M chips are going into production, and here's what we can expect. Now, speaking of things that we're expecting from Apple, we have some new possible launch dates for the iPads and iMacs because they weren't specific. And even if we thought it wouldn't happen at high prices, OnePlus seems to be having a crazy year in some regions. I'm Jaime Rivera, and am I the only one wishing we had a time machine that could, take us further or backward from every single time a company says new normal? This is Pocketnow Daily. I know it's been a minute, but the official news today still begin with deals. And listen, don't worry. If you're not interested, you could just follow the time codes for when the news begin. Let's start with Amazon's Apple deals that never seem to stop. The Apple Watch Series 6 is currently $77 off, leaving the LTE variant for $422. Now, the GPS variant is also $150 off at Best Buy, leaving the product red variant for $259. Now, sticking to Amazon, they currently have the Galaxy S21 for $150 off, leaving it at $699 shipped, and they also have the Galaxy Watch 3 for $150 off, leaving the entry-level 41mm variant for $250 shipped. If you want a Galaxy S21 and have a device for trade-in, their spring deals are still going, where you can get the S21 for $100, the S21 Plus for $300, or the Ultra for $500, but again, you need a device for trade-in. We have more deals on other Samsung products, headphones, monitors, and more in the links in the description. Now, sticking to official news, let's talk CES. If we're honest, the whole virtual CES that we had was seriously just meh. As much as the host did an amazing job, the idea of covering only certain things on a show was an accident waiting to happen. I'm not gonna lie that I cannot wait for trade shows to get back to normal, and that seems to be the case. The CTA just put out a new announcement that says we'll be back in person and digitally from Las Vegas from January 5th to the 8th of 2022. Apparently the media days will kick off on the 3rd, with the full event ending on the 8th. They claim that around 1,000 companies have already committed to attending the show in Vegas next year, with some of the names including Samsung, Google, Amazon, and AMD. The statement mentions that they'll be reviewing the COVID guidelines in order to apply safety measures, but we're still not sure as to what the restrictions might be because, those have been improving gradually. We'll keep you posted as with everything that has happened, some launch dates moving and everything, it could just be that we get to see more stuff than usual at CES. Let's move the spotlight onto OnePlus. I find it interesting how the narrative here on YouTube is that OnePlus is losing their mojo, mainly because they're doing flagships and not necessarily amazing ones, and yet their numbers apparently seem to be saying otherwise. And if you remember, they claimed a staggering growth in 2020, and it seems that has only multiplied in their new lineup. According to some new data from Counterpoint, OnePlus just posted a 388% growth in Europe for Q1 when compared to last year. The report claims that the 9 series accounts for 65% of that revenue, with the 9 Pro being the best smartphone on its launch date for Amazon France and Spain. However, it looks like the Nord is pulling some punches, being the highest selling Android phone in Finland for Q4. And as a matter of fact, if you're in Europe, OnePlus is adding some deals for the 8T as a way to thank you. Anyways, we'll keep you posted if they release other numbers in different regions, because I'm curious to see how they're doing in the US for those prices. Now let's move on to Apple for the rest of the show, starting with a few updates that we've been waiting on and products we've been waiting on. So I'm just going to split this into two. In case you've missed it, yes, Cupertino rolled out iOS 14.5 and macOS Big Sur 11.3 at the beginning of the week, also a new version of watchOS, and iOS 14.5 brings all those updates we wanted, like being able to unlock your iPhone if you're using an Apple Watch with a mask, and the final version of app tracking transparency, AirTag support, and more. And macOS Big Sur updates bring changes to Safari, the reminders, podcast application, and even the Find My app. That's all great, but can I just say, finally. We've been waiting for this for quite some time now, but speaking of things we're waiting on, let's talk about the new iMacs and iPad Pros in the second section. It's funny how Apple said that these would be shipping in the second half of May without providing some real dates. Well, according to the metadata on their UK press release, it looks like we can expect these on May 21st. This goes along with information from other tipsters like John Prosser, who also says that we should expect the Apple TV on this date. So yes, finally dates, but I get your point in the comments when we discussed recently, if there's no version of macOS or macOS apps on that iPad Pro, I wonder how that initial sale is going to go. I can't wait for WWDC. And finally, for the hottest news today, let's talk about Apple MacBooks and Apple Silicon. A couple of weeks ago, we got the new iMacs, and we originally thought that we would be getting the new processor here, but that wasn't the case. I mean, the M1 is pretty darn powerful as it is, so it does make sense for the entry-level iMac, but it does open the question over what's next. Well, a new report from Nikkei Asia claims that the next generation M series Silicon is already entered mass production with shipments to begin as early as July this year, meaning shipments to Apple for them to build their products. The report mentions that it's being tentatively called M2, mainly as a placeholder, I guess, before we get the actual name, but this might actually be the M1X that's been leaked after the M1 was released. Also, the report adds that this chip will first make its way onto MacBooks, and then it will appear inside other Macs in the following months. Hopefully, this would mean the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros are actually coming. And finally, it also mentions that it will be built on TSMC's 5nm plus process, but we still don't know what the difference is with the 5nm and the 5nm plus. And speaking of MacBook Pros, we're expecting these to bring mini LED displays with smaller bezels, HDMI ports, SD card readers, MagSafe charging, and more. Of course, if the chips are shipping in July, that does mean that we could hear something at WWDC or probably until the fall. Let us know in the comments down below, if you had to pick, where would you want that new M1 chip? Because in my case, give me that 14-inch MacBook Pro. I'm happy with the 14, like the 16 is awesome and that's all great, but I really want an ultra portable beast. But that's just me. Leave us a comment down below, we'd love to know your opinion. Friends, again, if you want to get the news earlier, follow us on Pocketnow.com and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. You can also follow us on social medias. Our extended coverage happens on Instagram. And follow me on my personal handles to see me. It's just, they really have overused the phrase. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.